You ever notice how some people jump from relationship to relationship, like they're changing seasons? And every time they swear, this one is different, this one is special, this one is finally the one that won't fall apart. But then a few months go by and everything cracks right down the middle. Same confusion, same ending, and they're left staring at themselves, thinking, why does this keep happening to me? If that sounds even a little familiar, you are not alone. And today I want to walk you through something real. I want to tell you something that might sting a bit at first, but if you let it sink in, it might be the turning point that changes your entire love life. Because relationships don't fail out of nowhere. They leave a trail of clues, and most people miss them. So let's start with the moment most relationships begin. That honeymoon glow, everything feels light. They laugh at your jokes, you text all day, you are playing your best version of yourself. And without realizing it, you start building a picture in your head of who this person is and what this relationship is supposed to feel like. You fall in love with the story before you have learned the person, and that's where the first crack usually forms. Most relationships fail because you fall for potential, not reality. You meet someone, and instead of seeing them clearly, you project a whole fantasy onto them. You ignore the small red flags because the feeling is too good to risk losing. You convince yourself their flaws will change later, or that their inconsistency is temporary, or that the little things that bother you will not matter once they open up more. But here's the truth. You can't date potential. You can't build a real relationship on the hope that one day they will become someone else. That's like buying an empty house and telling everyone about the furniture you're planning to buy. It's not real yet. The next reason your relationships keep failing is emotional speed. You open up too fast, you give too much too soon, not because you are weak, but because you are craving connection. You want something real right now. And that urgency makes you hand over pieces of yourself that should be earned slowly. You start calling every day. You are texting good morning and good night. You're pouring energy into someone you barely know. And the moment you do that, you lose your balance. You stop noticing whether they are giving anything back. You get caught up in the feeling instead of the foundation, and without realizing it, you end up carrying the whole emotional weight of the relationship while they are barely lifting anything. And then comes the crash. You start feeling anxious. You start wondering why they are not texting back like before. You start analyzing their tone. You start working harder to keep the connection alive. And that pressure pushes them away, not because you are too much, but because the relationship never had a balanced rhythm to begin with. You were dancing to a song only you could hear. Another reason relationships fall apart is expecting someone to fix the parts of you that you have avoided. A lot of people don't want a relationship. They want a rescue mission. They want someone who makes them feel secure because they don't feel secure by themselves. They want someone who gives them purpose because they don't feel fulfilled alone. But no one can carry that weight for long. The moment the other person realizes they are responsible for your emotional stability, they start backing away, not because they don't care, but because that level of responsibility is exhausting. A relationship is supposed to be two whole people choosing each other, not two broken pieces trying to complete each other. But let's talk about something deeper. You repeat patterns. You attract the same type of person over and over again without even noticing it. And you tell yourself it's fate or chemistry or your type. But the truth is, you are drawn to what feels familiar. Even when familiar hurts you. Maybe you grew up around chaos, so calm feels boring. Maybe you are used to feeling unappreciated, so real love feels suspicious. Maybe you have been abandoned before, so you are unknowingly drawn to people who give affection in small doses. Because that pattern matches your past, and until you understand your own emotional blueprint, you will keep choosing partners that fit your old wounds instead of your future happiness. Another reason relationships crash is communication that looks like communication but isn't. You talk, you express, but you don't say the real thing. You don't say, when you go silent, I feel unsafe. Instead, you say, "Why didn't you text me back?" You don't say, "I need more consistency to feel connected." You say, "You never show effort." You speak from the wound instead of the need, and that turns your partner into the enemy instead of the teammate. Most couples are not fighting each other. They are fighting their own fears through each other. And let's be honest, there's a reason many relationships fail that no one likes to admit. Lack of standards. You tolerate too much. You let things slide because you're scared of losing them. You don't enforce your boundaries because you think it will push them away. You settle for the bare minimum because at least it's something. But when you accept less than you deserve, the relationship will eventually break, not because of them, but because your spirit knows deep down this isn't enough, and eventually that truth rises up. Now let's talk about something that hits everyone at some point. Unhealed ego. You want to win, you want to be right, you want to feel in control, and instead of building the relationship, you start keeping score. They forgot something you said. They didn't react the way you wanted. They messed up, and instead of working with them, you pull away, punish them with silence. You stop seeing them as a partner and start seeing them as a threat to your pride. Ego will destroy more relationships than cheating ever will. And sometimes the reason your relationships fail is shocking in how simple it is. You choose people who are not ready. They like you, they enjoy you, but they are not prepared to give the commitment, effort, consistency, or emotional depth the relationship requires. And you try to love them into readiness. You try to beg potential into existence. But you can love someone into a stage of life they haven't grown into. And on the other side of that, sometimes you are the one who is not ready. You think you are because you want love, you want the feeling, you want the connection. But wanting love and being ready for love are two different things. Being ready means you have built a life that is stable enough to hold another person without losing yourself. It means you know what you need. It means you have healed enough that you are not asking your partner to fight the ghosts you haven't faced yet. But there is another reason your relationships fail that most people never look at. You think real love is supposed to feel dramatic. You think the highs and lows are proof of how much you care. But that's not love. That's emotional addiction. Real love is calm. But because you are used to intensity, you mistake peace for boredom. And when something feels healthy, your nervous system rejects it. You sabotage it before it grows. You start fights. You pull away. You convince yourself they are not doing enough. But the truth is, you're just not used to being treated right. Your relationships might also fail because you don't know how to stay when things get tough. The moment conflict shows up, you assume something is wrong with the relationship. But love without conflict is not love. It's a fantasy. The real question is not how good things feel when everything is going well. It's how you repair when things fall apart. Most couples don't break because of the argument. They break because they don't know how to reconnect afterward. They get stuck in pride. They wait for the other person to make the first move. And that distance grows until it becomes permanent. Another reason is lack of emotional patience. You want someone to understand you instantly. You expect them to know how to love you without learning you. But relationships are slow growth. They require patience. They require teaching each other how to love in the ways that feel meaningful. If you expect perfection right away, you will walk away from people who could have become amazing partners with a little communication. Your relationships have not failed because you are unlucky. They failed because you are growing into the person who will no longer settle for the things you used to accept. And that is not failure. That's evolution. And when the right person comes along, the one who matches your growth, your pace, your values, your emotional depth, everything will feel different. If something I said hit you, write "I am leveling up" in the comments. Let's see how many of us are actually growing out here. And if you are new here, subscribe right now. You're going to want to stick around.